He's Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer, NBA on TNT analyst, and he joins us on the program. You excited about this matchup in the finals, Reg?
I am. Everyone loves a good rematch. The way it finished last season, especially Game 6, where the Spurs were 25 to 30 seconds away from capturing their fifth title. They needed to make one free throw, secure one defensive rebound. It didn't happen. The ball got into the hands of Ray Allen, ties it. They win in overtime and go on to win Game 7. I think this is a better Spurs team. 1 year later, I don't think this is as good a Heat team a year later. It should be for a very compelling matchup.
Who would you want to play for as a veteran?
Greg Popovich.
But
no question.
If I said you could play with the rosters, not necessarily the coach, but you're playing with the players.
And taking into account my talents.
Yeah.
Greg Popovich. It's just great ball movement. No disrespect to LeBron James and the King, because the way he sets up Ray Allen is like Ray Allen is a year-and-a-half-year-old baby at 38 years old, the way he's able to get him threes. But the system would fit my game better with all the ball movement, and they play multiple people. You've got a power forward who's arguably, he probably is, the greatest power forward of all time, who still commands a double team. And if Game 6 was any indication in OKC, with the extended minutes, Greg Popovich ran his California Chrome and went to work, and that's the reason why they're going to their first ever back-to-back NBA Finals.
Is the shadow of Michael Jordan good for the NBA?
That was an interesting question you asked, and I will always say yes, because when you have a guy that's so iconic, it's funny you mentioned that, because you said about football, not defined by Joe Montana. I posed the question to you. For baseball, isn't baseball identified with the Yankees? Not necessarily one player, but it's always about the Yankees. For NBA, to me, it's got to be about Jordan.
But the Yankees are still playing, Reg. Jordan's not.
True, but it will always come back. Did the Yankees win, yes or no? And then you move on. Every player will be compared to Michael Jordan. That's just how it is. That's how we are in this society.
I think it used to be that if either Yankees win or lose a World Series. I don't think it's that case anymore, because I think you're finding that revenue sharing, parity, that I don't know who's going to the Yankees got a pitching staff that needs a whole lot of help. They aren't the favorites to go to the World Series.
Granted, and you're right, but who won last year's World Series off the top of your head?
The Cardinals?
Okay. You said that with a question mark.
I did.
When the Yankees win, it's a year-long celebration. The top story last year was Mariano Rivera's retiring. It wasn't the Cardinals winning.
Yeah, to a certain degree, and it's Jeter this year with his retirement. But
that's all everyone will talk about is the captain retiring and who is going to replace him.
But
and the guy that's their pitcher now from Japan.
But baseball is regional. The NBA is more national. It's sold national. It's sold globally. So there's difference with that, and there's only a certain number of good teams and good those players that are great. So it's apples and oranges. But I think everything comes back to Jordan. That you haven't moved on from the Jordan mystique. Guys wearing Air Jordan. He's become the new Jerry West logo.
Right.
Paulie just told me what? Oh, the Red Sox won last year. There you go.
See, look at that. We didn't even know. The Red Sox
the
won.
Beards, yeah,
and we don't even care. It's either all about the Yankees.
Yeah. Not necessarily, but it's all about Jordan. It's going to be all about Jordan. If LeBron, if he wins this one, well, Mike three-peated twice. If Duncan wins 5, he's one behind Jordan. It just seems like Jordan is always going to be there. And I didn't know if that's a good thing or not.
I mean, he was a polarizing figure, a transcending type of athlete. He was the one that ushered in the longer shorts, the baggier shorts, the short socks, the calf sleeve, the swagger, the tongue out. I mean, a lot of people grew up with Michael Jordan in the age of television with digital right around the corner. So he was on the cusp of all this, and rightfully so. I think that's why there's an affinity towards Michael Jordan.
He's Reggie Miller joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Derek Fisher, I don't know if it's a dilemma. Sounds like a pretty good one. Do you take, and I don't know if he's been offered this, but it sounds like the Knicks job is his if he wants it. I don't know about the Lakers job. Or I guess he could hold on and play one more year at the age of 40. So what's Derek Fisher do?
If I'm Derek Fisher, I take the Knicks job. Unbelievable career, played to the age of 39, was on the floor in closing moments of a Game 6. That's how much Scott Brooks and the Thunder valued his contribution to that team.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's time for him to take the next step and be a head coach, which I think he would be fantastic.
Would you wait for the Lakers?
Either or. I think he could learn. I think he could learn under Phil Jackson in New York. I think he would be great in that spotlight with the New York media, or come home to a place where he's won championships with the Lakers and coach one of his good friends in Kobe Bryant.
Who had a better year this year, Oklahoma City or the Pacers?
Wow. I think the way both teams finished, best season, I would probably go with Oklahoma City because Kevin Durant probably got the MVP. But the way the Pacers started the first two-thirds of the year, I mean, you were etching their names on the Larry O'Brien. I mean, they were that good.
Yeah.
Defensively, offensively, they were clicked. But you and I mentioned this. The day they traded Danny Granger on this conversation on a Monday, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. You never mess with chemistry in a locker room. And they went downhill right after that trade. I'm not saying that was the sole reason. There was obviously other factors. But I just don't like messing with team chemistry. I mean, they were 43-11. I mean, how could they have gotten better?
Well, plus they brought in Bynum. I mean, I realize Larry Bird said we're all in, but you can't be all in and in the same sentence have Andrew Bynum in there.
Look, again, 18 years with one organization, that organization being the Indiana Pacers, I, for one, was very disappointed the last 2.5 months of the season. To me, this was a team that absolutely had championship aspirations and really could have, I thought, pushed the Heat a little bit more. That, to me, the Heat yawned through that series. They really did. I didn't think they pushed them at all. And I give all that to the brilliance of LeBron James and Dwayne Wade.
Would you have let Lance Stephenson do to you what he did to LeBron James?
I probably would have laughed it off, probably like LeBron, because I knew he couldn't come back. We talked about that. I probably would have laughed that off. I mean, Starks tried to do a little bit of that, but Starks, in my opinion, had game. I respected his game. I don't know if LeBron really, at the end of the day, respected Lance's game. And this is a guy who led the NBA in triple-doubles. I love Lance Stephenson, and I want people to know that. To me, he had the most heart on that team. I give him all the credit for trying. He tried. He tried something where those other guys didn't.
Would you bring him back?
You've got two guys. You got a guy that's making a max contract in 4 games, didn't have a point and a rebound. That can't happen for a max player. And Paul George, who I love, if Paul George had the attitude of LeBron or of Lance Stephenson, I'm not talking about blowing in the ear, but the dog mentality, he would be like on par with LeBron James and Kevin Durant. I want that raw dog mentality in Paul George. Fantastic athlete, unbelievable two-way player, but he doesn't have a killer instinct. Lance has a killer instinct. He just doesn't have the game.
Would you bring him back?
Yes. With that team, I would. Now, I'd have to sit him down first and say, all right now. And I would have an iPad in front of me with all those Lance Stephenson clips.
But is he crazy or calculated crazy?
You got to have a little bit of crazy on your team. You have to. Birdman is that for the Heat. Greg Popovich is that for the Spurs.
You don't want meta world crazy.
You go back for every NBA championship. It was Rodman. For Detroit, it was Ben Wallace. For the Lakers, it was Kurt Rambis. For Houston, it was Vernon Maxwell. I mean, think about it. Every team had one person where you looked at him like, I ain't saying crap to that dude. right?
Well, we did have an all-crazy team, right? You picked your starting five.
For the Lakers, it was Ron Artest.
Yeah, but
you got to have one guy that's a little edgy. Lance Stephenson is a little edgy. Now, you've got to be able to rein him in. Phil Jackson reined in Ron Artest. Phil Jackson reined in Dennis Rodman. Spoelstra and LeBron James, they rein in Birdman. You got to have guys on your team, which that's what the Pacers don't have, other than maybe David West to rein in Lance Stephenson. I love him. I love his raw dog mentality. You just have to rein it in and harness it and use it to what you're trying to do.
Well, you have to have that person on your team that is capable of doing that. And
you got to have multiple players. And the Pacers only had David West that really had a voice. Russell Butler is a veteran guy, but, he's not playing a lot. Yeah. But you got to have guys that are on the floor to be like, dude, stop this. But they didn't.
I like Lance Stephenson.
Paul George should be that guy.
I like Lance Stephenson. And I agree with you that I wanted somebody who at least was going to go down swinging. Not literally, but...
Didn't he go down swinging? Wasn't he trying everything?
Yes.
He was the only one trying everything. And I know people want to fault him in Indiana. Okay, so be it. But at least this dude competed. Those other dudes didn't compete.
But Reg,
I'm sorry. George Hill didn't compete. Lance or Roy Hibbert, are you kidding me? You call that competing?
Okay, what do you do with Roy Hibbert, Reg? This is a max guy.
I'm telling you this. I seriously, if I was on that team, I probably would have. I still would be fighting Roy Hibbert right now. I'm seriously. That can't happen, man. You're the biggest dude out here.
And he's complaining about touches. It makes me throw up.
Not only complaining about touches, but throwing your coach underneath the bus while you're doing it.
His game plan.
Come on, man.
Game plan didn't include me getting touches.
We're in the conference finals. Are you serious?
Well, George Hill is not a starting point guard in the NBA.
George Hill would be great as my third guard.
Yes.
I love George, but he would be my third guard coming off the bench. You need it. That's things that Larry Bird is going to have to address in this offseason. They've got to get a point guard.
How mad was Bird? Did you talk to Larry when you were have you seen Larry?
No, I haven't. And this would be like, I'd be scared to talk to Larry right now. That'd be like trying to talk to your father after you know you've done something wrong. I'd be scared to talk to the legend right now. He's fuming. And the sad thing about it is, though that other network, the worldwide leader, kept showing him, and you could just see the steam coming off his head. You really could.
Before I let you go, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Who attempted more threes in their career? Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan, I would assume.
Charles took 250 more three-pointers.
Are you kidding me?
Charles had 2,000 three-point attempts. Jordan had 1,778. How about that one, Reg?
Fat boy, get your behind in the paint. Stop shooting threes. Come on, Chuck. That's a disgrace. Are you kidding me?
He shot 26% from three-point range.
He better never talk about these guys casting threes. And
what is Barkley doing out there?
You live with the three, you die with the three.
Reg,
Chuck,
why?
That's what you did. You lived and died by the three, 26%.
What coach would let Barkley shoot threes?
Well, maybe he's in the same boat with me.
With no chance.
Get your butt in the paint, Chuck. Come on.
Oh, man. Hey, good to visit with you. Thank you, Reg.
You guys are always the best.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. That's Reggie Miller, NBA on TNT.